Hi, in today's video, I'm going to share with you how I talk to my children about money from a perspective of mindset and values and principles rather than cold, hard cash.
Rumor has it that you just can't talk about finance.
Oh, yeah. It's boring. In the sense that to talk about it in a way that about it as money, not its context or what it actually means, but just to talk about it, Stephen, in the context of cold, hard, let's just talk about money. No, it's the emotion associated with money, the relationship that we have with money that's far, far, far more engaging. And actually, I think the starting point for all our conversations about money, if I'm honest.
Okay, so tell me about that then. Because I'm not. I plan my finances on my next pair of shoes, my next pair of trainers. Okay.
Yep.
So how do we make it interesting then? The business can make as much money as it likes, but I like to reward myself. I'm very much a child at heart.
Yes.
So I plan, okay, am I in a position where I can reward myself? Have I worked hard enough to reward myself? I love what I do, but how does is that I'm sat here thinking, really, you actually sound like a child when you say this, Stephen. So is this a good way to run a business? Probably
Yes.
not. Oh, it
No,
is.
it's great.
Right, over to you.
But it's great to think of investment and reward and the output, the outcomes of the money that you have. Think of it in that context. So relate the money that you have to something real that means something to you and matters to you. Think of it in a good example is in terms of investment. Investment in others obviously gives a greater return of well-being, but also think of it in the terms of how you spend your money investing in you to grow and develop, and actually think of it as an investment, not a cost. Because when we spend money, too often when we look at money, we think of it as, well, it's we spend it as a cost. Well, it's not. It's some things are cost, but a lot of what we spend is an investment, and it's an investment in us, in our families. Great holidays. It's not a holiday. It's a time to spend as a family, create experiences, and be happy and have fun. That's what we're investing in. The currency that we use is money to create the experience. Invest in experiences.
So then it's a mindset piece, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So what's your advice around adapting that type of mindset?
So yeah, in terms of adapting mindset, it's important. I think for me, it's about looking at the value that's generated, and as I say, think about it in terms of what do you benefit from? What's the value? What is the outcome of the experience that the money affords you to have? And that can be as simple as buying a DVD. And I think this is something where we look at it, oh, he spent 15 quid on a DVD. No, we had a great time as a family watching a film that we loved for 2 hours with crisps and drink, and it's an experience. And that is, if you look at it through what we receive from that experience rather than, and then put the money in the context of what that means, it changes our relationship with the money. It changes our relationship with how we treat our money. And I think that's a massive thing. That's a massive thing for me.
So is that the same for everyone? Because I've had experience where people find things, oh, that's very, very expensive, and I'm thinking back to a previous life, if you will, that they wouldn't spend money on the thing because they maybe didn't have the mindset or they think of it how you did, but is it because they see that they don't understand the value of the experience, or they just see the value of the money in their hand?
Well, that's partly how they perceive value, and some of that is actually comes from our pasts as well. So I come from to give you an example, I was the kid who wasn't able to buy the chips as a teenager when all of their friends were buying chips. And early into my adult life, that really, the way to have money early on in my adult life was like, wow, I've got money. So emotionally, it's a big up because I never had money. But then with that comes the challenge of, oh my God, I've got money. And then it disappears. And then back to that scarcity mindset of, I don't have any money. So a lot of it does come down to our values, our experiences, and it's important to understand our values and our experiences. The greater the awareness we have about ourselves and our relationship with money, I think the better we become with understanding our money and where it goes and what it does and what value it brings to us.
So you raised something really, really interesting there about about a child and being a teenager, and I completely resonate with all of it. You know, when I was a kid, I remember living by myself at 17 years old and was living off £36.80 a week, and this was 1995.
Yeah.
And having to live, and that was I was living by myself in a 1-bedroom flat in Lowestoft on the High Street. So I was going somewhere with this. Oh, okay. So your former self, your younger self, whether it be a child now where we think that every kid's got everything, or the children who maybe come from a deprived background who haven't got access, can't go and have that bag of chips. What is your advice to those teenagers? What is the advice you would give your younger self with the knowledge you have now around money?
It's how you treat the money that you do have and the mindset that you. So with our children, it's about the appreciation they have for whatever funds they have at that time. And they put some away when they have their birthday money and they spend it, and they are solely responsible for their decisions on the money that they spend. And what we talk to them about is put something away to ensure you're okay tomorrow, because we all know kids not interested in that. They want to spend the money now. But the money that they do have to spend, that they recognize the value that they perceive that they receive, understand, and that they understand why they spent the money the way they did. And I think it's about, irrespective of how much money you have, about sharing good habits and good values around money, and how, and just that. And long as I think one thing is, if I could go back and say, I did appreciate what I did have. It was just really challenging in a peer environment. And I think that's what we say to our children is there will always be someone who has more, there will always be someone less, but you have what you have, and it's up to you what you do with what you've got.
So Raymond, so give me some good habits that children could form around money.
Well, first things first, take the first 20% or whatever you agree the percentage to be, and stick it in the bank. The second thing is write down everything they spend. Keep a record like we used to do when we did bank statements. I've got £200. I've spent £20. Be really clear what you spent it on, and then right next to it why they bought it. So when they go back and they have to look at the decisions that they made, they will understand what the rationale was at the time. Now, they may not have got the value out of it. Well, that's good when it comes to buying Roblox cards and PlayStation 4 cards and all the rest of it, because if they didn't get the value out of it, next time, you hope they'll stop and think about whether it's the right thing to do this time. If you like this video, like, share, subscribe, comment below. Love to hear what you think, and look forward to sharing more content with you in the future.